Hello and welcome to the Sephirah Center of Shamanism. My name is Luke, experienced practitioner and mentor of the shamanic and occult sciences. On this channel, we break down all things relating to the ancient shamanic and occult technologies, bringing them into balance with the modern psychology and deep psyche. Today, we're going to be talking about illusions of grandeur within the spiritual communities. We're going to be looking at what illusions of grandeur actually look like. We're going to be looking at some common examples and how they can negatively impact one's healing and evolutionary path. So if this is something that you are interested in, then definitely stay tuned. So illusions of grandeur are something that are extremely important to understand for anybody who is getting into any type of initiation or healing modality and will have direct connection to a particular community or teacher. Okay. It's very, very important to be able to understand what to look for so that you can identify who is operating from their illusions of grandeur. I'll start by saying that illusions of grandeur in this context are extremely normal. Yeah, we all have ego. We all want to be noticed. Yeah, it's important that we own these aspects of ourselves in order to stop them from running the show from the unconscious. So illusions of grandeur are completely normal, but they can get extremely destructive if they start essentially running the show from the unconscious simply because we don't want to be honest with ourselves and look at them. So, what are illusions of grandeur? Illusions of grandeur in this context are referring specifically to delusions that are cultivated from attainment, creating the illusion that one is better than the other, that one is further along than the other, or that one is further along in their path in general than they actually are. Okay, very common within the spiritual communities. How it looks like in other areas is, say, somebody could have loads of experience in one area, somebody could have loads of experience in a given trade, could have loads of qualifications, and then they will create a story and an identity around that to essentially stop themselves from going deeper, stop themselves from learning more, and to essentially place themselves above other people because inside they don't feel worthy. Illusions of grandeur only really become a problem when we are not honest with ourselves about the reasons for wanting to get into certain things in the first place. For example, for me, I'm aware that there are various different parts that want to explore various shamanic practices and occult traditions, or have wanted to, from many different perspectives, for many different reasons. Yeah, there are some parts that genuinely want to be in service. There are other parts that want to be seen. There are other parts that want to be noticed. There are other parts that want freedom. Yeah. So it's important to take ownership of the different reasonings for why you are wanting to get into certain practices in the first place. And this will ensure that you are not operating unconsciously from the illusions of grandeur that are associated with it. Yeah, I do feel that if it's one's evolutionary path to go through this, then illusions of grandeur will be shattered into a million pieces, forcing one to be honest with themselves. I do feel like we are living in that time, to be honest with you, but everyone's path is highly individual. Okay, so what do illusions of grandeur look like within the spiritual community? What we need to look at first is the false prophet energy. Yeah, we need to understand how the false prophet energy works from within the spiritual community. And what I'm referring to there is essentially the belief that I have something that you don't, I have knowledge that you don't, I have practices and things that are going to help you to attain the right thing the right way. Yeah, we need to be very careful of that. One of the most common ways that I see this playing out is actually in more experienced practitioners and mentors. Yeah. In the shamanic communities, it's often the famous I've been to Peru badge. or the famous I've trained here, I've trained here, I've trained there badge. Yeah. Essentially, one that takes the experience and the knowledge that they have gained and takes all of these material badges that they have gained in the process, creating a story around it, and essentially creating the sensation that I have the only way that this should be done. And my way is the only way, and everybody else's way is wrong. Okay, this is something that has different levels of intensity amongst different types of people. Yeah, because everybody's different and everybody is going to have a different way of expressing and projecting these wounds. But this is extremely dangerous because this is a sign of somebody who is not being honest with themselves, a sign of somebody who has got a severely wounded inner child and is still operating from a place of unmet needs unconsciously. And what will then happen is that they will unconsciously and passively gaslight their community, gaslight their students, and basically keep them beneath where they are. Yeah. If a teacher tries to make you believe that you are not ready, yeah, then that is a red flag. Okay. A teacher should keep their students in check in some ways. Yeah. Like a teacher should not, for example, share something with a student who, for example, an advanced initiatory system when the student hasn't got any experience in looking at their shadow. That's just irresponsible. Yeah. But that is what you would not doing that is what you would call being a responsible teacher. Yeah. Taking their power away is a completely different thing. Yeah. And this is like people who have been training with this guru or training with this shaman or training with this person for years, yet they are still beneath them. A good teacher should be comfortable to see their students and should actually expect their students to surpass where they are. Yeah. I, for myself, when I see people that move past where I am, yeah, then that is always a natural process of maturing my ego. Yeah, because that's where the initiations as a teacher really start when you start to actually take on students and actually start seeing students going past where you are. You need to be okay with that. Yeah, because that's what all of this is for. Yeah, we're in the age of Aquarius now. Yeah, things are moving quicker. The whole point is that I should share with my students things that have taken me longer to attain, and they will gain those tools earlier in their evolutionary path, and then they will become better than me in that respect. Yeah. So a good spiritual teacher, a good teacher of anything, should expect their students to surpass where they are and be okay with it and empower them in the process. Okay, and that false prophet energy does not allow that because the wounded inner child is still operating from a place of unmet needs. Okay, so that false prophet energy is really something to really observe. If there is any aspect of a spiritual teacher trying to disempower somebody else, trying to disempower another way of working, yeah, trying to disempower somebody who is just trying to help other people step into their power, yeah, then this is a very big red flag and is a very clear sign of somebody who has not integrated the work that they have done, or they are just getting into it for the wrong reasons. Okay. There are other smaller areas where that can play out within the spiritual communities as well. The famous I'm a star seed thing. Yeah, the famous I'm a draconian starseed, I'm an Arcturian starseed, so that means that I'm better than you are and I have knowledge that you don't. As well as I'm in the fifth dimension illusion of grandeur. We're all very familiar with that one. Yeah, I will give you the light codes, I will transmit the light codes to you so that you can get to the fifth dimension. Yeah, the dimensions are not separate from us. Yeah, we exist in a third dimensional, physical, tangible reality. Yeah, and there's going to be different aspects of us that dwell within the different planes. Okay, so that's a very common illusion of grandeur as well. Yeah, so The other areas are, very similar to the false prophet energy would be the I'm a shaman badge. Yeah. So, gaining these different badges and wanting to be referred to in a certain way can often be a recipe that creates extremely dense illusions of grandeur. Yeah. So it's like, for example, somebody who's a doctor, even outside of their profession, must be referred to as a doctor. Somebody who has done loads of shamanic training in many different traditions has to be referred to as a shaman. Yeah. Somebody who's done just a shamanic practitioner course has to be seen as a shaman, or they have to be seen as this. Yeah. We have to understand why we want to be seen in this way so that we can stop ourselves from falling into these traps and operating from them unconsciously. As I said, they are completely natural stages of our evolution, completely natural periods where we have to go through illusions of grandeur. At the end of the day, when we complete something big, somebody's been through a big initiatory process and they get to the end of it. Yeah, somebody has initiated through, say, the Cliff-Oth, somebody has initiated through the Sephiroth, somebody's initiated through the medicine wheel. They got to the last point on that. Yeah, they have real achievements to be proud of. Yeah, they would have come so far in their evolutionary path. They would have changed on the fundamental level, but it is important not to get ahead of oneself. Yeah. If one thinks that they have finished their initiatory process, they are wrong because they are going to go through more initiations, more dense initiations, more powerful initiations to help them shift into a much stronger, a much more rounded version of themselves. Okay. And the illusions of grandeur can form to essentially stop one from going through that. It's like, oh, I'm a shaman now. Oh, I'm a shaman now. I've got this, I've got that. Yeah. So basically the ego's perspective is that I'm going to create a story and an identity around being a shaman in that example. Yeah. And I'm going to use that as a reason not to look at my shadow. Yeah, because that part of us is only trying to keep us safe. Yeah, it's only trying to keep us safe, but in doing so, it's going to separate us from what feels uncomfortable. So if it can see that we have attained all of this amazing knowledge and all of these amazing practices, yeah, then naturally it's going to build a story around them. Naturally, it's going to build an identity around them, yeah, and start operating from that space. Yeah. I'm of the belief system that we need to go through continuous initiations of the death of the ego, or could I say the temporary death or dissolution of the ego. Yeah, this is to ensure that we don't start operating predominantly from those illusions of grandeur. Yeah, it is a very, what I would call green flag, a very positive thing when somebody starts going through the process in their initiations of really questioning, why am I doing this in the first place? Yeah. Am I even cut out for this work in the first place? I think everybody should reach this point within their path at some point where they are thinking, am I even cut out for this? Should I even be doing this? Yeah. Am I just doing this for attention? Am I just doing this for to be noticed? Am I just doing this to see myself as above somebody else? Yeah. And the idea is that those realizations, those thoughts, shatter the illusions of grandeur and force one to be honest with themselves so that they can start exploring their lack, exploring their self-doubts, exploring their limitations, exploring their failings, and then they can bounce back stronger, more resilient, and more confident in their craft. So illusions of grandeur are something that one needs to be aware of. Yeah, because any aspect of attainment is going to have an illusion of grandeur that will spawn from it. It is the natural death of the ego, or the temporary death or dissolution of the ego that we go through, say through a shamanic death, that forces us to let go of those illusions of grandeur and start to redefine ourselves in a way that is much more authentic and true to our soul. Okay, and that ensures that we are able to operate from an optimally authentic space, as well as bringing that to our community. There's one thing operating from an illusion of grandeur within oneself, but it's another thing when it is projecting that onto one's community and unconsciously gaslighting and disempowering other people. Okay, so it's just something very important to be aware of. So that is all I think I need to speak about on this subject. Very, very big subject. Yeah. For those who are interested in knowing more, feel free to get in touch. I have numerous healing and mentoring programs in the shamanic and occult traditions, numerous shamanic and occult traditions. I also have a very powerful membership program that will take you through the process of practicing these various techniques and various esoteric practices in a safe and ordered way. But for now, thank you guys. Be sure to like and subscribe if this video was of value to you, and I will see you in the next video.